Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today is Christa Shifflett. She is are you the CEO, president, or just like the chief bottle washer?
All of those things, the executive director.
At the Warren Coalition. You have a longer name than Warren Coalition as well. What is the full name of your organization?
Warren County Community Health Coalition.
Yeah, Warren Coalition is much easier. Yes. And we've been running this program. You've seen it on the Royal Examiner, kind of highlighting it all year. It's called We See You, right?
We See You.
So tell us a little bit about that program. It's been a year. So kind of how did it get started? What's it all about? And what are we going to do for year two?
Okay. So we're really excited, having just come off year one. It started last September, and We See You is about building resilience within the community. The coalition started originally as a substance misuse prevention agency, and what we've discovered over the years is that the thing that helps people not go to misusing substances is being able to be resilient, to be able to overcome challenges, to find ways that are healthy to cope with their problems. We decided there was a way that we could help with this, which was make everyone be seen. Hence, We See You. So this started with the idea that we would just greet our neighbors to begin with and say, hey, good morning, it's great to see you.
Yeah, it goes a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah, to acknowledge that you're alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll share this story because I think it's poignant but also sort of helpful. So I work at RSW a couple of days a week, and I have for quite a while. And I happened to be down at an addictions conference in Baltimore a few years ago, and a young man came up to me on the dock. We were on a break, and you could clearly see that he had been misusing heroin. He had blood running down his arms, and he said, "Can I ask you something?" And I said, yes. And he pointed, and he said, "You see that man over there?" And it was a very well-dressed man, and I was like, "I do." And he said, "Well, he just dropped a whole bunch of money on the ground." And I ran and picked it up and gave it to him, and I said, "Can I ask you something?" And he said, he didn't speak, and his wife said no. And he said, "So first, thank you for acknowledging me." And he was about 18. He was a nice-looking kid. And I was like, "Of course." And he said, "I'm not going to ask you for any money." And I said, "Oh, hon, I wouldn't give you any money. But me and my friend are hungry. Could you get us something to eat?" And I said, "Well, I'm waiting for a friend, but I'll go with you if we will." And so I did take them to get food and say, "Get whatever you want." And I said, "I hope you guys find a way to get well," when I left. And I share that story in the jail with the people. And it's so interesting because they all nod their heads. They understand that they're like throwaway people, that people don't want to acknowledge them or deal with them. We're not going to get well as a community if we pretend that we have no one in our community who's not doing well. We need to acknowledge there are people who are struggling, and just hey, it's great to see you, or you matter,
Sure.
can lift people up. And we've had people tell us that saved their lives, seeing it on our car. Right. So that's how we started.
Right. And we put those little window clings everywhere.
Yes.
But it's important. People need to be recognized, and it goes back to people love to hear their name. It's like when you talk to people, just acknowledging them by using their name in the conversation goes a long way in building rapport with people. Just like, I always mispronounce your name, but I still like you, right? So, but that's what I'm saying. It goes down to that. And I think that's that self-esteem that people need. They lose that. And, families are so mobile and disrupted, and they just people get lost. I think people get lost. We see that.
And just even in that rushing, even with families, and there may not be any kind of illness in the family, but you're running to this soccer game, and you're taking to Susie to dance practice, and you're doing whatever, and just that pause to even say, "Hey, how are you doing? You're doing okay? You look like you might be feeling kind of sad or whatever." And we need to do that for everyone,
right,
and build that togetherness. And so when we started, we asked individuals and businesses to please sign up and be willing to take that on with their customers, right? And say, "Hey," when they walk in the door, "Have a great day."
Sure.
Or "Good to see you."
Right.
Or
never ask people how they are, because they're always going to say fine.
Right. That's true.
We need to find a new phrase, "How you doing? Good to see you." It's almost better than "How you doing?" We'll just tell people, "Hey, we see you."
Yeah, I actually am acknowledging you.
Sure.
So as we move in, and I should say something else about this, which has been really exciting. So when we kicked We See You off last year, I had floated the idea as a topic for the National Leadership Conference for coalitions across the world. And they selected me, and I spoke on that, and had many coalitions from all over come and say, "Hey, can we use this idea?" I was like, "That's why I'm here.
Absolutely,
I want you to use it. Here's some of the materials. You guys are going to want to make your own for your own areas." And now we're year 2, and I reapplied because I wanted to go back and give them some of the data. I wanted to be able to say, last time we were here, we had this many people following us on Facebook. Now we're up to 1,000 people following us on Facebook. Hundreds of businesses have signed on. Individuals have signed on, and it is starting to move. And we are saving people's lives who've come to events and shared how what they saw we were doing actually made them move in a healthy direction versus thinking some very unhealthy things. And so, as we move forward, I'm excited to go back and share these are the pieces. Now, We See You has multi-prongs. We've asked the community to do those things, but we do other things to support it. So the coalition puts on free training, a 6-hour certification training to be trauma-informed, to understand what it means to have experienced trauma as a child, what that means for your health and your mental health outcomes as an adult, your longevity of your life, and how can we help? If people had adversity in childhood, how do we help them build resilience later in life so that they live a longer, healthier life? It's never too late to gain resilience.
No.
So those trainings help people get certifications. Then we have a second one that's behind that, that's trauma supportive, that's really about lifting people up. So I try really hard when I greet people, would be like, "Hey, how are you today, wonderful person?" Even if I don't know them, because that's an easy way to lift people up.
Sure.
Remember your birthday, that sort of thing. So we offer both of those. We also do a program called Courage in the schools. So Courage takes children from 5th through 8th grade in our non-traditional programs and siblings of those students. These students have been the victims of a crime, or they have witnessed a crime. And that's how they get into this program. Right now we're in year 4. We just started year 4 of Courage. And we have put a pause on because we have so many children just in those grade levels and the non-traditional school that have experienced that. So they've experienced a lot of adversity, a lot of trauma in their lives, and we're trying to bolster them by giving them a mentor if their parents say yes, helping them with other supportive techniques to help with resilience, and then somebody just to listen and be present. A lot of these kids have lost parents to substance misuse. They're either passed away or they've gone to jail, mental health issues, other things that have disrupted families, or maybe a stranger with some sort of violence happening, and to be able to offer that support and stay with those kids year after year. We have kids who've been with us, when we started 4 years ago, who are still in the program, and we're just like, "Oh, you're doing so much better. Do you want to leave?" No, we appreciate having you. We want that ear. We want that support. So of course, we don't have them go if they want to stay. Sure. But that's another part of We See You. That's a more intensive part for people who really, really need that. But we know that about 70% of people had at least one adverse experience in childhood. So most people are there. But what I find when I work with people like that is they feel alone. That nobody understands. Nobody will have been through what I've been through. Right. There's so much shame around whatever's happened, and I don't want to share it. So that isolation, instead of the connection that we're trying to build so hard with We See You, here they are in their bubble. Well, when you're alone and you don't think anybody cares and you're not connected to anything and life doesn't feel safe, guess what you're going to start to do? Yeah. You're going to start to misuse substances because
depression
it's awful.
Sets in.
Yeah. And you want to get away from the pain. And when I ask people, who are in the jails, how did this all start? How did we get to this place where you started misusing substances? Because, probably 80-85% of the people in jail have a substance misuse issue. And, they'll talk about something horrible happened and they started doing this to forget or felt like nobody even cared about them. Nothing horrible necessarily happened, but nobody cared, so why should I care? And they started misusing substances.
That's what kind of reminds me. People think they're all by themselves. It only happened to me. Then they associate with somebody that's abused their substance. They go to that depression area, and then they meet someone else because there's a group of people like that, and they share those common experiences. Next thing you know, they're a substance abuse abuser and just move on. That just kind of snowballs down the road, and that's the only support they're getting is from people just like them.
Right.
And
but the thing is, so many people are just like them. They just don't think it.
no.
So that's the thing.
Right.
And I mean, I've had considerable trauma in my life, and when I'm in that place, I will share that because it's amazing to me that people will come up in the jail after I've shared some of that, and they're like, that happened to me too, but I've never said that to anyone in my life, and maybe I could talk about it, and you're so brave to stand up here. And I was like, it wasn't my fault.
Right.
I didn't do anything wrong. So my shame, I shouldn't have shame. This
Exactly.
shame belongs to whoever did these things to me, not to me.
Right.
So you're okay, and giving people that permission.
That's exactly what it is. They just need permission
Yeah.
and say it's okay.
Yeah. So, and accept them where they are and offer that empathy and sometimes just to listen. And it's amazing how you see the growth and people I've seen who, really had some significant struggles and maybe had misused substances for 30 years,
Right.
get to the place where once they've got that outlet, they start healing. Now they're leading and helping support other people who are struggling with that, getting well, and the changes and the difference it made just by giving them permission to be, you're okay.
It's okay. And they kind of then fall back and look and say, oh, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. This is not getting me where I need to be.
A lot of times they know, but they just can't. They just don't have the
break out of it.
skills. They don't have the skills to move away from it, or the confidence, or anybody who's even supporting that, because the people they're hanging around with are all doing that.
Yeah.
So there's
And they
not
don't wanna quit.
There's not. Yeah. Well, a lot of times they do. They just don't know how. But there's not that support when you're with those people
Exactly.
to do it. Now, once they get out, though, it's amazing that other people who are still struggling will say, I'm so proud of you, and I didn't think you'd ever be in this place, and maybe you could help me.
Exactly.
There is that, but they need somebody, a mentor on the outside to be and I am a registered recovery ally to support somebody who wants to move to that. So this is what we're trying to do and move people forward. So going into year 2, we're going to start, I want to share this, and if you're not out there, it's time to get signed up. So people who are signed up to be We See You members, and it's the WeSeeYou.com that you can sign up to become a member, and we ask you to fill out a profile because we have our own page and we want to showcase who's on there. On Halloween, we are doing an all treats Halloween for people who are members. And we're going to ask people to share some of the treats of being a member with We See You, how it's changed them, just even talking to strangers and doing some of those things. You don't have to do that, but we'd love to have you do that. But we are going around to members, and we are buying goodies to give away on that day. And we're just going to randomly draw them out, one an hour, and you'll get a lovely gift card to go somewhere and eat something that's delicious. Maybe not necessarily. I make no claims it's going to be good for your health, but it will be delicious either way.
Calorie-free.
That's right. That's right. No guilt, whatever you're getting gift. And this is part of what we're doing. Our monthly theme this month is kindness. And so this is a way to be kind. We're also going to do Thankful for You, a thankful time in in November, thinking of Thanksgiving. And we're going to be offering some of those each week, asking people what they're thankful for, but also, again, giving away some gifts to support people to say, we're so thankful that you're willing to join this movement, that you care about Warren County and everyone in it, and you want to make this a happy, healthy place for not just you and your family, but for even strangers, that as a community, we love Warren County, we want the best for Warren County, and that means everyone in Warren County. And we have the power to change things. I know that people are looking at this model across the country, having given this talk they're all across the world, but from across the country, and going, this is a great idea. This is how we change what is going on in our communities bit by bit.
Right, one person at a time.
Right. And as you join, please share. Share the things that you're grateful for. I had been away for a little while, and I came back, and what I kept commenting on was the leaves had changed. I'd been gone a couple of weeks. And I kept saying, oh, look at that tree, it's so beautiful. Oh, look at that tree, it's so beautiful. And the person I was with was like, oh, I don't even pay attention anymore.
Right.
And I'm like, what a missed opportunity for how absolutely fortunate we are to live in such a beautiful place, and just pause for that minute to appreciate that. That attitude of gratitude goes so far, and you can always find something to be grateful for. Even when I work in the jail, like we're working on attitude of gratitude, and I was like, I know no one wants to be in jail. I get that. And I know this isn't fun. I understand. But maybe you got a cookie on your tray today. Or maybe you got a visit or a letter from somebody you hadn't heard from. Those are all things to be grateful for, even though you're not happy about where you are.
Right.
So all of us can find something to be grateful for. And that lifting of mood
Goes a long way.
Yeah.
It does.
And your attitude towards maybe something good will come along.
What do they say? Your attitude determines your altitude?
That's exactly right. That's 100% true. And man, can your attitude also poison other people's attitudes, so that you have a choice. You have a choice how you interact.
Kind of reminds me, in employers, we hire for attitude and we train for skill, and that's the thing, is because I can't really teach an attitude to you. That's been ingrained into you since you were in your childhood. You mentioned that trauma. I just thought, that trauma is implanted in your brain and it just never goes away. I mean, we can remember things back when we're children that were not trauma. And so we can remember these things that just kind of blast in there. And, it takes a long time to, like you said, get that feeling out of there and so you can handle it.
Well, and the body remembers even if you don't have memory.
It's
so
there.
If something happened that was before you were even verbal,
Sure.
Your body holds that in your body. That's part of the way that people's lifespans get reduced, is because you're holding the extra adrenaline and cortisol basically eating away at your
It's
lifespan.
You.
Yeah, at your telomeres,
it's
which
eating
is
at you, right? Yeah.
what determine the length of your life, your telomeres, and they found that it's actually making them go away, so you don't live as long. So I'm really glad to be here to talk to you, because I want to encourage everyone, please. We all have something to share. We all have something to give. Whether you feel that way or not, I'm here to tell you it's true. And if I saw you in person, I would keep telling you that until you started to believe it yourself.
Sure. It reminds me of the old, you fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
It goes a long way. It works.
It does. 100%. It does. You are correct.
Giving you all these cliches here.
Yes.
But the other one, and I use it all the time, is people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that kind of fits right in with what we're talking about here. You can tell them and preach to them all day, but until they really believe that you care about them, your advice really just goes in one ear and out the other. And I think people kind of tune things out, and it's important that we appreciate. And I think the things that you're doing is doing exactly, acknowledging people gives them that, oh, wait, who's that? And you'll pay attention. It's like walking down and crossing in the path on the sidewalk, just smiling at someone.
Oh, yeah.
They'll always smile back.
They
Very rare that they don't. Maybe they're smiling. I always say, well, they're smiling on the inside.
Yeah. Or maybe they think you're up to something if they have a trust issue. But, I think one of the other things we've done with We See You, that one of the girls who actually works at the office had sent me a video of her granddaughter doing affirmations in the mirror. And she has her granddaughter do them every day. And she tells herself she's brave and she's kind and she's smart, whatever her affirmations are. And I was like, wow, that's so easy. And she's young. She's like 5 maybe. And I was like, that's such an easy thing to do for a kid, to build them up, to feel good about themselves. So you feel good from within and not from without. Your happiness comes from within, and you don't need that from without. So we've done a bunch of commercials with local children practicing those sorts of things with parents. Or another thing that parents can do to put like notes in lunch boxes or in books that say,
Goes a long way.
You're wonderful or you're smart or whatever it is. So that kids get reminded. It's just to pause for just a minute. We're all so busy, but it only takes literally 10 seconds to write a note and stick it in a book that your kid will find, or in their lunch, or on the
they're going to
mirror.
say, oh, Mom, don't do that. But the day you don't do it, they'll come back, Mom, I didn't see your note.
Exactly. 100%. And then they're sad. And you're so right, though, Mike, that it's a missed opportunity. And we were at the middle school today. It's Red Ribbon Week. It's National Drug Prevention Week. And we were up there doing activities with the kids. And one of the girls had asked to go around and say one good thing that you like about yourself. And she'd encountered a girl who like, I can't think of anything. But her friend was standing right there, and she said, well, is this your friend? And the friend replied, yes. And she said, well, tell us some good things about her. And so she starts naming all these good things about her friend that she thinks, and everybody in the group's going, oh, that's so nice, and that's true, you are that, and you are that. Sure. And so sometimes people just don't see it in themselves, but that doesn't mean that other people don't see it in you. Right. And so I think, maybe we need to make sure that we see you, that we are lifting people up. Oh, that was so kind of you. Thank you for remembering my birthday. Sure. Or, covering for me because I was going to be late for a few minutes. Just little things people do that we don't acknowledge are signs of caring and value.
Kindness goes a long way. It's amazing, you can do that, just opening the door, just little things. And so the old back to please and thank you. It goes, manners go a long way, and that's part of our kindness. And the part of that is just recognizing people. I think it boils right in what you're talking about. Just please and thank you, really, and the kindness goes into you're a person. I'm talking to you, and not just that wall back there.
Right, and you deserve to be treated
exactly
and like
kindly.
A person.
Exactly.
It's funny when you say please and thank you. Years and years ago, I had a boss. This woman did not know the word please, and she did not know the word thank you. And she would just order you about constantly. Go get this. Go do that. Go. And I got to the place where I stopped listening to what she was ordering me to do and keeping track of how many times she didn't say please and she didn't say thank you, and how unappreciated you feel just from that very simple, did you have the manners to say please and to say thank you when someone did something for you. And that's an easy thing.
It's free. Doesn't cost anything.
No, and most of we see you, for us, again, it doesn't cost anything to extend this to a community. And Warren County really struggled with the EDA crisis, and there was that huge lack of trust in everything that happens. Well, trust is our foundation. Trust is our building block. So without that, you don't get the next thing, the next most important thing, which is connection, because everybody is distrusting of what's going on. So everybody feels isolated and alone. Well, that breeds all the other negative stuff. Mm-hmm. The resilience is what we need. So coming back to recover from the distrust, start to go slowly. You don't have to, I always tell them in the jail, you don't have to dive off the 10-foot board into the 10 thing, but a toe at a time here, let's move in. And we know that those two things, first, making you feel safe, second, making you feel connected, is the beginning steps to being able to overcome the trauma that's happened. And obviously, we're still in healing phases from when that happened, and just sort of the shaking of the foundation of what people believed in and thought were good, and then you start to question everything. And this is why we see you, I think, is also really timely, that we have to come back and we have to start to build that piece by piece, and and being transparent about what's going on, so that people can recover. Right. Because we all suffered a trauma and a shock through all of that in some way or other. And so we all have healing. And then on top of that, to compound that, then the pandemic came along.
Right. A lot of mistrust there.
Right. Yeah, a lot of mistrust. The pandemic came along. And then the connection, whether we wanted it to be or not, we were all pulled apart again, even if we'd started to come back together. So we sort of had a double whammy that happened in Warren. And that's why I feel like even more strongly that this was a great starting grounds for this, and people are so excited about it and to carry it on, and the more traction it gains, the more it brings that hope. Sure. That hope to me that we will heal, that things will get better, and everyone will coalesce again as a community and move in a healthy direction forward. And that's kind of really.
Well, I'll put below here the link to your website. And by the way, the We See You campaign is a free campaign.
Oh yeah. It's free, and when
all you gotta do is just sign up.
Yeah, and when Mike started at the top of the hour, he is great about putting on our businesses that are part of We See You, and it just scrolls through constantly on the site.
And it keeps getting bigger too.
Yes, and it does keep getting bigger. But you've been, I'm gonna make me cry. But he's been such a big proponent and such a good support for us from the beginning, and I truly appreciate that.
I appreciate that, and I thank you so much. And again, I'm doing what little bit we can do to support things that you do, and you have a bigger, it all, takes a village. I hate to say that, but it does.
It does. Well, it's been a day for cliches here, but I do truly appreciate.
The reason they're cliche because they work. They're true.
Well, that's true. They are true, and I appreciate your support. And for everyone else, all the businesses, all the individuals who've signed up with us, I so appreciate every one of you. Thank you. Thank you for wanting Warren County to be well. And we'll keep on keeping on, folks.
Okay, great. Well, I really appreciate it. We'll share all this information below with the video, and people can go on the website. And please sign up because we see you.
Exactly. We
Thank
see
you.
you, Warren County.